Hello everyone. In continuation with the last episode of Flowable Database using PostgreDB in an Spring Boot application, here I have a new episode of DB Tables walkthrough. In case you missed to watch that video, then you can click on the eyeball icon appearing on the right top corner of your screen. So guys, as we have already learned that Flowable product gets created in the database once your application gets boot up by the Flowable engine itself. However, this behavior can be changed if required by setting some properties in your application YAML, which we have discussed in our last video of Flowable database. So using this link, you can create the required DB objects in PostgreDB for Flowable engine. This link I have shared in the description of the video as well. So you can check out later. And this is the entire script which you can copy and paste in your PostgreDB. Now I will take you through the important database tables and their nomenclature which is used by the Flowable product. The Flowable engine tables follows a common naming pattern which we can divide into three parts. So the first part where the database table names associated with the Flowable open source code starts with ACT underscore. So ACT stands for the activity BPM from which Flowable BPM has been forked. However, data tables specific to the Flowable work or Flowable engage starts with FLW underscore prefix. Now the second part of the table after the first underscore is a two-character identification specifying by the specific use case of the table. It could be either GE, RU, HI or RE. So here GE stands for the generic tables or the general data, whereas the RU stands for the runtime or active instances. These are the runtime tables that contains the runtime data of processes, cases, etc. You can say this is the active data which is not yet finished, and Flowable only stores the runtime data during execution and removes the records after the instance ends. This keeps the runtime tables smaller and fast, which is helpful for the fast execution of data. The third is HI, that stands for the historic. These are the tables that contains the historical or completed data. When data is removed from the runtime tables, the history table still contains all the information for these finished instances. Now the next is RE underscore that stands for the repository tables and is contains the static information around the models and definition. After that we have ID underscore which denotes the identity table, contains the data for users, groups, members and privileges. After that two underscores we have the last suffixes in the table name, which could be for the deployment definition, database change logs. For the liquid based tables could be a task process, a DMN, CMMN related tables. So to discuss few like we have a common suffix for deployment where one entry indicates the successful deployment and all definitions that are created as part of the deployment reference this entry. After that, we have the definition tables, and one deployment can have multiple definitions that we all know. And typically, there is a definition for each model in the deployment. Example for a process, it could be for a case or it could be for a form definition. The table contains all the definitions that are known to the engine and from which new instance of the definition can be started. After that, we have some common Liquibase tables like database change log. This table is used by Liquibase to track which change sets have to be executed. Similarly, we have the database change log lock. This table is used by again Liquibase to ensure that only one instance of the Liquibase is running at a time. We need to note that Liquibase is a Java-based framework for tracking database schema changes, and we have these tables for Liquibase for almost application, tasks, CMMN and DMN and process, form, contents, everything. Now let's discuss these tables one by one. And these are the tables which we are going to see from the product site, which will get created and used when we deploy or execute any process or an application in Flowable. So as in our last video, we have already seen how to install the PostgreDB. So this is the browser of my PostgreDB where we have this flowable database created by the Spring Boot application. And within that, when the Spring Boot application got started, we have all these tables got created in this schema for the product. Now, for the interest of time, I have already created a few of the important tables which we can discuss and have an understanding what are these important tables. And like to start with, first we have the generic tables, and which is this like ACTGE property. This contains the data of what is the version we are using, and it is a generic table. Similar way, we have ACTGE byte array, which contains the details of the process or case or application which you are deploying. All these details it will contain. After that, as we already discussed, we have the Liquibase related tables which are maintained by the product as a framework. So we have the database change log and database change log for application level, for CMMN level, DMMN level, forms and content. So for all these elements, we have the database change log and database change log tables. After that, we have the deployment tables. So whatever content we are deploying from Flowable design, right? Whatever we are designing, if we are deploying it as an app or as a case management or as a DMN or form, these records will be captured in the deployment or resource related tables of that particular entity. So after deployment tables, we have the tables for the task. So as we already discussed, we are maintaining the details in Flowable at runtime and a historic table. So if you want to see the runtime data of a task, you can go for the ACT RU task. However, historic data can be viewed and seen from ACT HI task instance. Similar way, after task, we have the details for the process as well or the activity. So runtime data, you can get it from the ACT RU act instance, whereas historic data you can get it from historic act instance or historic process instance tables. Same way, when you go for the case level, again we have the runtime tables and the historic tables. So these are the important tables where we can see the case level details for the runtime or historic. And if we want to see the details at the plan item level, so within a case we can have n number of plan items or stages. So those data, right, subsequent data of a particular case in a lower level, we can see from the CMMN RU plan item instance or historic plan item instance tables. After that, if you want to see whatever DMN related data, if we have any decision table, then we can get the details from ACT DMN decision tables. And form related data we can get from the form definition and form instances. The important table here is for the variables, like for all the instances what we have deployed and executed in Flowable, right? They are associated with some variables. So for the active instances, we can get the data from the ACT RU variable, and for the historic data, we can get the details from the ACT HI where instance table. So after that, we have the tables for the identity, ACT ID user, for group, for privilege and members. And after that, we have tables for the identity links at the runtime and historic, where we can see which instance is been associated with a group or a user. And post that, we have the entity link tables. So entity link tables contains the data like if a case is associated with the process or process is associated with a task or a process is associated with the decision table. These entities, right, they are linked with each other, and these data we can get it from the historic and runtime entity links. Suppose that we have the details for the job, like if we can get whatever the jobs have been scheduled, we can get the details in ACTRU job. Suspended jobs, we can get it from the suspended job table. There are dead letter jobs which are not active, so these details we can found in the ACTRU dead letter jobs. If we are using any timer activity right in our process, then these details of timer related jobs we can get it from this table, and there are history related jobs as well which we can find it in this table. Similarly, we can have the data for the attachments which can get it from the attachment table, and there is a flowable license is also maintained, so that details we can get it from the flowable underscore lic underscore license table. So this is all about the important tables what we have for the flowable engine. But there is a point to note that we have separate tables for the flowable control and flowable design, which are specific to these components. And these tables will get created in the database by Liquibase once you start such components. So guys, with this, I will conclude today's video, and I hope it's informational and easy to follow. If you have any questions, then let me know by writing your questions in the comment section of this video. To shower your love and support for such informational videos, I request you to subscribe my channel and press bell icon to receive the instant notifications once I upload any video. Till then, stay safe and stay healthy.